land lovers, it's me, your Captain Vasco speaking. Boy, am I tired. That's not a joke. I just didn't sleep well yet, like last night. But also, unrelated, we set a record yesterday, June 17th, for our longest duration live stream, or mine at least. Which previously I think had been something in the neighborhood of like 4 hours, 40 minutes. I think it was like a little over 4.5 hours. Now it is like a whole hour more than that. I really didn't think there was that much AI the Somnium files left, but I think I grossly underestimated two things. One, the fact that there were two Somniums left. By the time we started that last installment, I thought there was just one. And also just how much epilogue that game wished to have. It was a non-zero amount of epilogue. We have, however, completed that playthrough, leaving us to potentially start that next week. I'm still not entirely clear on the prevailing sense of whether we should start that when there will immediately be a 2-week gap in the streaming schedule. But we'll figure that out at some point, ideally. But for now, let's talk about Murder by Numbers, because that's what we'll be playing tonight. We will, however, probably be having a short stream, so if you're looking at the duration of this on YouTube and you're like, why? Just keep in mind that we streamed for 5.5 hours yesterday, when normally I stream for like a little over 3. Approaching double the duration and having other stuff to do during the weekend, it makes life a little difficult. So, there's a good chance that this will be like a 2 hour or 2 hour and some change, something like that. We'll see. Like, maybe it'll go a little longer if we really are right up against finishing this case. I'm honestly not quite sure. We're close now, but I don't think we're, like, super close. Yeah, so what happened in Murder by Numbers last week? Well, we did a lot of really bad detective work, which is, like, kind of a common theme to, like, a decent number of the games that I choose to stream. A lot of the things I play end up being mystery oriented by the nature of being a game based around a story, and a popular way to do that is some sort of mystery, whether it's like a traditional murder mystery or something more complicated than that. Lately, I've been playing a lot of murder mysteries in that regard. We discovered the existence of someone going by the name Alex Costa, who had a grudge against Dick Stanford, who was the murder victim in the case that we have been working on for a few weeks now. Hashtag justice for Dick. And even though I feel like there's a fairly obvious explanation for this apparent pseudonym, as there are no people involved with that name in the case, we have precious few suspects, and most of them don't make for compelling candidates. We've already accused Bobby Price, who is the person who took over Dick Stanford's like daytime talk show or whatever the show is, and we managed to exonerate him by checking the autopsy report and figuring out that while Bobby Price had strangled Dick Stanford, that wasn't the cause of death. He was already dead at that point, and so him strangling Dick Stanford is not murder at that point. So after a little bit of digging, we learned about Alex Costa, and the game sort of forces us to presume that Alex Costa is Bobby Price's mother, which feels like a real long shot of a supposition, even not having drawn the conclusions that I've chosen to make, which are, I've been suspicious of, I believe her name is Kathleen Cartwright, who was like Dick's co-host on that show for many years, and seems to have had like motive and opportunity. Oh dear, I didn't turn my phone off. That's great. I want functioning watchback. I really hate my current existence. Everything is broken all the time. Don't worry about it. The phone's off. That's good. So yeah, like Kathy Cartwright, every time we ask her a question, she says something like directly incriminating someone else, and then if we have any follow-up questions, she just takes a phone call and leaves. And it's all like intensely suspicious to me. And like all of the elements of the murder feel like she could and probably did do them, but the game really wants me not to think that, so it won't let me make any choices as though that's the case, which I have some respect for, but also feels a little ridiculous at a certain point. And we managed to reach that point last week. We did. I feel like a lot of the puzzles we solved last week were involving. We went to question our co-star from Murder Miss Terry, Becky Call, in the ladies' room, and after a while we discovered that the backstage area of this like award show hall is literally on fire and we must escape. And so we had to like find a fire extinguisher and a crowbar to jam the door open. I feel like there weren't a ton of clues, but like there were putting clues together. For a while we seemed to be convinced, and I say it that way because again, I have my theory and the game refuses to acknowledge it. We seem to be convinced that our ex-husband, Ryan No Goodnick, I don't know what his name is, the Gilbert Gottfried guy. He has like just like nothing but motive against us. He seems to like really hate us as a person and just wants to control us, which is cool. It's super good that we're not married to that guy anymore because he sucks. But like we have managed to establish, without hard evidence, but pretty good circumstantial evidence, that he bribed the award show officials so that our show could not win any categories. And I think it's because he wants us not to be able to have a successful career so that he can continue to manipulate us. Which, like, on the one hand, bravo to the game for taking on what is like a legitimate social grievance in like the power dynamics of relationships. But like, gross. I don't like it at all. It's unpleasant. Boo. Yeah, I feel like I don't quite remember what we did at the very end of the stream. I think we had solved another puzzle, and I feel like I was supposed to remember something important about it, but I don't, and maybe turning on the game will help with that. But I think the major takeaway is, the major takeaway is that somehow, because we're convinced that Bobby Price's mom is Alex Costa, the person who's trying to like get on public record that Dick Stanford had been such a miserable person to work with and had been like abusive to his coworkers and all of those good things that do also exist in Hollywood. But because we think that that's Bobby Price's mom, even though we just exonerated Bobby Price, we're like, okay, hear me out. I think Bobby Price did it. So we definitely don't look very good or smart or professional. But, you know, maybe we'll turn that around with the power of nonograms. Also, hi, Demolition. I hope you're doing all right. Boop. Dude, just do it. Okay, great. But it's gonna be the European thing again. Okay. 611? That's probably right. We definitely found something here in the ladies' room. Can I check my inventory if I don't have anyone to talk to? I believe the answer to that is no. Which is like another like super weird quirk of the game's user interface. That's fine and cool and well and good, I guess. But let's just solve nonograms. I'm sure my brain's in a great place to do that. I'm not struggling to exist right now for any reason. Oh, good. Okay. Well, hey, at least one row down, right? Am I right? Okay. See a couple rows where some overlap could happen. It's interesting. I don't know if it's a feature of the particular objects and visual design of the people who made this game, or if it's just like some quirk of nonograms in general. But it's interesting to me how frequently the columns have much smaller groups than the rows tend to. And that's a pretty broad statement, but like, the point being, like, I feel like you're much more likely to see lots of groups of 1 and 2 and maybe 3, but like, not nearly as often to see like groups larger than that. And then like the rows like tend to have bigger numbers. here it's a little closer between the two, but, like, you know, we at least have, like, a 7 and an 8, and, you know, like, a 4 and a 5 here in the middle. But, like, I feel like you're just much more likely to see the smaller groups in columns. And I don't know if there's, like, a specific reason for that, or if it's just, like, what the people making this game did. This looks like it's a very purple grid. Let's start with the overlap for this 8 here. Should be 8, and then the other version would be 1 space 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Yeah, that seems about right considering how much space there is for interpretation. Hello, Ditto. Welcome to the stream. We're just starting our very first nonogram. It's gonna take me like a whole hour probably. Oh, Angel of Iron. You are here as well. Welcome. Hello. Hi, everyone. It's me, Vasco. I survived, somehow. I have to say, it really has nothing to do with the fact that I did a super long stream yesterday. It definitely has a little bit to do with the fact that I didn't sleep well yesterday. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. I feel just awful today. I feel super miserable, so I apologize if something dumb happens and I yell and the microphone stops functioning. Again, you know, like it has occasionally done in the past. And by that I mean I don't have super nuanced settings for the microphone because I keep it some distance from me because I'm likely to speak loudly, and it doesn't work the way a microphone should because I'm not using it, air quotes, correctly. Mostly, I might shout because I'm just inherently upset with existence. I hope you are not, though. I hope you're doing alright. So, 1 space, 1 space, 3 space, 4 space, and then, I think that's right. 1, 2, 3, 4, space, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. That should be overlap. And hello to you as well, Angel. I think the overlap before here will work, even though it's a little weird. This says, all caught up on the VODs for the last 2 to 3 weeks I missed. Turned it into a fun game where I put you on double speed and tried to race you in completing the puzzles. We were going about even. I don't know if you're trying to flatter me by saying that when... No, wait, if I'm going at double speed, that means I'm taking half as much time as you, right? That's cool. I mean, there's probably some amount of slowness to actually trying to, like, externalize thought, but also I don't think I'm very good at these, to be honest. Let's see, 2 space 1 space 2 space 3 space 1 2 3 4. I mean, we only get 2 there, but that still works. That's probably all I get from the rows. I might be able to squeak out... Actually, I could probably do this 4 here. Although that's going to be a little bit more difficult than these other ones, so I'll do it this way. 2 space 1 space 2 space 1 2 3 4 space... Oh, hang on. 2 1 2 4 2. Oh, okay. Well, that one just works. It just works. Guess I'm glad I checked that. Air quotes again. The air quotes are very important. That's true. There are occasions when I will talk about that one time I failed a test in middle school that I'm not over and probably will never be over. This is actually a little bit interesting. So, taking these to be overlap here, if we look at this column, there's only one group of 3, and we already have it. There's nothing larger than that, so it can't be part of anything else. And there have to be 2 groups of 1 below that. So, like, it kind of has to be like that. So that's like some decent information, but then the rest of it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, is that everything again? I think it is. 2, 1, 1, 3, 1, 1. Okay, sure. I don't usually do this because I don't think it's necessarily super helpful, but, like, it sort of distinguishes the fact that this row is just, like, definitely correct. Which could be helpful later if and when I discover that I've, like, made some error. I can at least look at that and be like, this shouldn't be a problem here. This should be fine. Alright, this is a little bit interesting. Now that we've cut off several spaces there, so we have 8 out of 11, which means I think we should have an overlap of 5. Is that correct? 1, 2, 3. I'll put in these 2 temporarily and make a note to myself that I've put in 2. But yeah, that should be right, because it's 5 and then it can be up to 3 in either direction. Okay, that's maybe a little helpful. Who knows? If we look at this left-hand column, we should be able to determine that this space has to be blank for the reason that the largest group here is 4 at the bottom. I can't fit a whole group of 4 below this, so it has to be the bottom group of 4. And now the group of 4 can only reach down to here or up to here. Okay, so we know that these 2 in this vertical arrangement here, these should be part of the group of 4 for this column, because again, you just can't fit a group of 4 below this, and you certainly can't fit an additional group of 1 below that. So that means it can only reach down to, like, here. Depending on... I think there's enough space I can't actually do too much with that, but I feel like that might be worth noting. All the small groups, it is often difficult to tell where to go in the, like, mid-early stages of looking over the puzzle. And I do really feel like we're gonna go especially slow today because, like, ugh, I just feel awful. I just feel awful, man. Is this a full one? It has, like, a lot of numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's not. Could probably get some overlap out of maybe a few of these. Let's take a look at this column that has a group of 4 in it. So you could do like 1, 2 space. The only valid thing in this column is this black space, which is helpful. So 1, 2 space, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then like etc. And then you could do like 1 space, 1 space, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this would be... this top one would be overlap for the column, but because we already have this lower thing that has to be part of the group of 4, we should be able to conclude that, like, all 3 of those are part of the group of 4. That should be valid. Maybe I can do something with this if I just do it the same way and am careful about it. 1 space, 2, or 1, 2, 3 space, 1 space, 1, 2, 3, 4. No, I guess that really is as much as I can get from that. What about here? What if we did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc., because the other groups are very small. Or you did 1 space, 1 space, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, it's a little interesting. It gives us one overlap to work with that we didn't already have. And that actually does tell us something, believe it or not. Because in this row, the largest group is 5, and it's the furthest one to the right. And previously, that space could have gone here or here. But if we tried to fill in this space, suddenly we would find ourselves with a group of 6. And that can't be the case. So we should be able to conclude that the group of 5 reaches all the way to the edge here, and then these are blank because the rest of the row only has groups of 1. I think that tells us that this right here, this point in this row, is actually part of the group of 3 for the column. Because from the bottom, we need to be able to do at least 1 space, 1, 2, 3. That's like the furthest to the bottom it could go, and the only way that works out, well, space, 1 space, 1, 2, 3. No, I guess technically you could top load all of that. It seems very unlikely, but you could do it. Let's see if we can do anything with these remaining column groups of 4 before I start trying to cross-reference the rows. So if we say 1, 2, 3, 4, etc., because of many things. We did 2 space, 1 space, 1, 2, 3, 4. No, it's just not enough there, huh? And this was 5, so that's nothing. And then I guess... Well, no, we already looked at this column on the far left. That should work that way. I guess I haven't looked at this row that, like, I'm sure I could get something out of. So if we said, like, 1, 2, 3, space, 1, 2, space, 1, 2, 3, 4, space, 1, space, 1. Alright, that looks like that's another, that's just the whole row. 3, 2, 4, 1, 1. Yeah, that should be fine. We'll fill those ones in. More thorough way of doing this, but again, I'm not convinced it like normally makes a huge difference. It's just helpful if you kind of get lost along the way. That does actually do something interesting for us, because now in this far right column we have a group of 3, and that's the biggest group that column has. It's also the one closest to the bottom, which means nothing's going on down there. Doesn't do a ton, but it does give us something. Similarly, now that we know that this space is blank, we can conclude, since we already have 3 spaces of overlap here, they have to be part of the group of 4, the only thing big enough to accommodate that for the column. And it needs to have 4 spaces, so there's only one place it can go, right there. No, don't. Ugh. Let's click. This click is always so rude to me. I don't know why she has to be that way. And then we got some stuff up here, and then, oh, we do also have, there's only 3 spaces, and there should be a whole group of 2 down here, so that should be part of the group of 2. And similarly, if we look at the row, I just put that in, the furthest right group is 2, and there's only 1 space that can fit now, so that should apply there. I guess that also tells us that... Yeah, so if we look at this column, we now know, like, the 2 bottom groups of 1, the placement of those. And then this is the group of 2. So that, like, sort of cordons off about half the column there. And it also tells us that this should be the exact placement of one of the groups of 2 in this row here near the bottom. But... we know that everything in this row has to be part of a group of 2, and so this 1 space that doesn't have anything connected to it can't be part of that, which also tells us that this is where our group of 2 goes for this column. Yeah, that all feels right. Except something has gone wrong here. Because if we look at this column, or this row rather, the group furthest to the right should be a group of 2. And currently we have it as a group of 1. Don't know how that would be possible. I mean, it feels like it should be this way, right? Because I feel pretty good about this placement here. 1, group 2. Yeah, it could go either way. Or this should be group of 3. 2 of these are like hard-coded, and then we have I mean, the thing is, yeah, I messed something up here as well, ditto. It feels like the correction should be filling in this space and Xing out this space and resetting this row. Because I remember drawing a conclusion here that made sense at the time. But I don't... I'd have to go back through a lot of logic to try and figure out whether that's correct or not. Why don't we do this for now? Maybe that one. I feel pretty good about that one. But let's also... clear the rest of that row for a moment. We'll just try and come back to that. That's gonna be really difficult. Hello, Cat. Welcome to the stream. On a character with a very silly premise. All of their things are based on idioms taken somewhat literally. That sounds like that's up my alley for sure. Love stupid stuff like that. Okay, so there's one group of 2 in this column. If we take a look, we do 1 space 1 space 2. That could... no. There would have to be... yeah, this has to be part of a group of 1 by itself. I don't know if that does anything for us, but I can draw that conclusion for now. We should be able to safely say... I know I had this in place before, but I'm trying to like backtrack some of whatever error I made. We should be able to say that because 3 is the largest group for this column, now that I have 3 spaces here, that should be... we should be able to isolate it from the rest of the map. Here... the lowest 2 groups for this column have to be groups of 2. Meaning that this has to be filled this way, and this would also have to be filled this way. So it looks like a lot of what I was looking at before for this troublesome row looked correct. Like, something might have gone weird here. It does really feel like this should be filled in, even though I had determined this should probably be filled in. I'll remove this guy too, even though that be correct. Just I think that came from the same logic there. Alright, that's fine where that is. Oh, there's nothing bigger than a group of 2 in this column, so we can at least cross those out. Let's take a look at this. So we need 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you could do 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, no. Technically, 1, 2, 3. And then space 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I'm like really. It's weird that I have like I'm looking for a bunch of 1 groups to fill in here, and I've like set it up such that it looks like they should all fill in there, but I can't do that. I don't have anything there. This should be correct. This should be a group of 2. It's the largest group for the column, so that should be fine. And then there's nothing below it because that's the lowest one there. If this is true, 2, 5, 6, 7. Hold on. So if this was the furthest right possible thing, which I suspect that it is, then we'd be able to like 1, 2, space 1, and then like this would be void. They're almost definitely different groups, so I'm just gonna put that there for now. And then that gives us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 spaces for 7, so we can do an overlap of 6, which lets us. This should be a closed-off group of 1 because it's too low in the column for anything else. Here, this should be our closed group of 2, which leaves only this as the possible group of 1 for the bottom of this column, which almost definitely means this is filled in per the row, because there has to be a group of 2, and I've X'd out all the things over here, so it can only connect to this, which would make this 2, 3, 4, 5, the group of 5 at the bottom there. Which might be the contradiction from what we had in place before with the trouble row, the group of 5 at the end. Based on its current position, we should technically have overlap here, which would also in turn mean that this should be the group of 4 that reaches up to exactly here. Which would then also mean this row, 4 is its largest group. And now we have 4 in a row, so that should probably be how that works. Now, if we look at this row, it should be able to do that this space should be filled in, because I need a group of 2. Everything else is accounted for, and that's the only spot that can finish off that group of 2. I swear to God, I'm misclicking so bad today. 1, 2, 2. Okay, that should be fine. This row should technically also be fine. It has 2 groups of 2, and that's all it should need. I want to fill... I want to fill this in. Like, this should be correct. Looking at what this row looks like now, that should be correct. That would make this the finished group of 3. And then that would make this the group of 5 for the row. And then I need 3 more ones. So, like, yeah. In that case, that looks correct. That also coincides with the fact that this should complete the group of 4 for this column. The lowest thing for this should be a group of 2. That needs to be filled in. This would be blank. That's all looking good. I feel like we've corrected the issue from before. Might be some wishful thinking, but that feels right. Now if we look over at this, the furthest group to the right in this row should be a group of 2. We've already got 1 space here. So this should complete that, which would also be a group of 2 reaching up to here for the column. It's the right, sure, that makes sense. Run out of a lot of the like larger groups now. 2, yeah, sure. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, okay, so let's take a look at this column then. So we have a group of 2 and a group of 1. So this needs to isolate so it can be separated from the remaining group we're missing, which is 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. So we have one point of overlap there, which does something for us. What it tells us is this can't be a space for anything. This has to be part of a group of 2. And if we considered something possibly being to the left of it, it would need at least 3 spaces, 2 for the filled group and then a gap between. Since we don't have that, we can rule this one out, but the group of 2 could still reach left or right from there. Yeah, this is still about as much information as I have there. Feels like I should have more, but I don't. Alright, this has to be part of the group of 2. I don't think that's relevant to me. So applies here. Oh, actually, there's something up here I haven't paid attention to at all. This top row has only one group of 3, so that means it can reach over to here, or it can reach over to here. Everything else should be blank because it wouldn't be able to connect to that one space that we have confirmed from a row that's definitely filled in. Not sure if that quite tells us anything. I think it does tell us one thing here in the group next to it. Actually, yeah, I think this tells us something. So, I think this has to be the group of 1 for the top of its row, and this one does 2. This one also does. Because there's no way to fit an additional 1 with a space to separate it as separate groups in order to make there be a higher individual filled space for any of those rows where the top one is 1. That doesn't apply in these 2 columns because you can still reach up to this space above and still be the group of 2 we're looking for. That in mind, we still need, what, a group of 2 and a group of 1? And 2 space 1. Wait, is that right? 2 space 1. And that would make it 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1. Yeah, okay, I think that column's done now. It's probably not true here. Actually, is it? Because here we need... Oh no, we're only missing one group of 1. We already have the group of 2 below. And the other one we don't. That's why that works. Alright, we've ruled out some stuff. I'm missing just a group of 4 here. So I should be able to consider this as a point of overlap. So we have 6 possible spaces. 4 of them need to be filled in, so they overlap there in the middle. Okay. Okay, if we look at this row, this should be filled in, because I need a group of 2, and now that's the only way that works. This feels like a group of 2, but I'm not filling that in. It would technically make sense, but I don't have any reason to conclude that. Can't do anything here yet. Not yet. Yeah, that's fine. Nothing there. Nothing's changed in the row with the 8 to narrow that down at all. Feels like these 2 are filled in by nature of the fact that I need a group of 2 at the far left, but again, can't really draw that conclusion. Space. So, hold on. I think if we look at this column now, that it's a lot of it's been eliminated, I think we get some overlap out of the 3. I don't know if it's helpful. Let's take a look. We could try the furthest above it could be is this space, and then one of those be the group of 1 we also need. Or we could do 1 space, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that looks right. And what's interesting about that is this row here has only one group of 2, and it's the furthest one to the left. which means everything left of that can't be filled in. So one of these two should be filled in. I don't think I have anything to narrow that down just yet. Another interesting fact, though, is if this space is filled in, it should also mean that the group of 8 goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's like specifically those spaces. So we've almost figured out where the group of 1 goes here on the far left. Now we have some mystery ones to fill in on the right as well. Let's see. 2, 2. Oh, now that we've X'd out these ones, that lets us know that we do indeed need to fill in these, which make both the group of 2 for the row and also the 2s for each of these columns. I think that finishes this one, right? No, I need one of these 2 in the middle to be filled in as well. It's one group of 1 to go with all them 2s. Here I feel like I'm missing a lot of 1s, so this might fill itself in. 2 space 1. Now I only need 2 more, right? But like this should be a blank space. 2, 1, right? So then, because I need 2, 1. Yeah, I'm missing 2 1s and there's 3 spaces, so I should be able to conclude they go like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the group of 2. That looks right. It sounds weird, but it looks right. That lets us know that this is a group of 3, and then this has to be filled in, which completes that column. A lot of moving parts with the other half of that row. We'll leave that for now. If we look at this row, we have 1 space filled in here, and we've eliminated the far side. So, since I can't fit a separated group of 2 here, that should mean that this is our group of 2. So that narrows that down. 1, 2, yeah. Oh yeah, this should be filled in per the column, so that checks out that way as well. And since this one is filled in, this also needs to be filled in to make the furthest left group of 2. Similarly, this should be filled in, which looks like it aligns with both the column and the row. Always a good sign. So how many 1s am I missing here? 2 individual groups of 1. So only way to do that is if this is filled in and then one of these 2 is filled in. If we look at this, this also should be blank. And then is that remaining space filled in? 2, 1, 1, 3? Yeah, that should be filled in. That makes that completed group of 1 for that row. And then is this one filled? This is such a weird... I haven't done a puzzle like this where I'm just gradually like, there's 1 blank space. Is it empty or filled? So we have 2, 2, 2. Yeah, we need a group of 1. It goes there. Then if we look at the row again, 2, 1, 1. The next one's a group of... for calamity's sake. 2, 1, 1, 2. Alright, this row should be done. Shocking to me I haven't sorted this out. It's gonna be like the very last thing somehow or other, and that just feels very weird to me. Says played a character for a tabletop game for a few sessions who's from a foreign land and used a lot of literal translated idioms from other languages. One of my favorites was yelling, "It is the time to make hay!" at the younger party members in the morning. Very good. I like that very much. For some reason I was imagining like a TTRPG character this week who like was from like another world. Like, you know how in like time travel science fiction or like alternate dimension fiction, when like a character is like transported to another world, and like usually in TV, like they'll just like act really dumb and try not to blend in. Like, the whole point of this character is that, like, he just doesn't tell anyone that he's from a different place, but what he does tell them is that he sustained a head injury, and so he'll, like, ask everyone questions about, like, all the weird details of the world, and then if they look at him, he'll just, like, lift his hat and be like, sorry, head injury, and just, like, constantly use that as an excuse. Just constantly just be telling people he has a head injury. I don't know why, but that seemed really funny to me. I feel like I'm close to the finish line here and stumbling a bit. Milition says, a friend is making a gnome bard of illusion who used to be a fisherman. Tells tales that sometimes became true while telling them. That's an interesting take. Two. Space. Is this enough to fill this in yet? I need 3 whole groups of 1. 1 space, 1 space. No, it's not. I need like 1 more filled in, and then I should be able to do that. I didn't even know there was a new Starship Troopers game. Is there an old Starship Troopers game? Okay, hang on. Wait, I see something I should be able to do something with. That is... because we have top X's here, this should be... that's finished group of 1. That doesn't do a lot for me. If I look at this one, how many groups do I still need? It's 1, 3, 1. I mean, it has to be part of a group of 1, so this is also blank. But I guess I can't technically say that... Is this anything? Do I need exactly 1 of these? In like every direction? Is that how this works? I think it is. 2, 1, 1, 1, 4. Yeah, I need 1 there, and then if I look at this, I have 1, 2, 1, so I need 1 there, and I have 1, 1, 5. Yeah. It feels... well, no, I guess that doesn't work. That doesn't even make sense! Just as I have about 6 1s I'm trying to figure out orientation for. Yeah, I think that's just how this one works. It's a little odd. Like I was saying before, I don't feel like I've had specifically that experience so far. I don't think there's anything, like, wrong with that. It just feels weird because it's so different. I'm just missing some little thing here. There's a few of these ones that if I filled them in, it would probably just, like, cascade the whole rest of the map. But I'm not there yet. 3. I can't really do that. 1, 2, 1. No. 1, 2, 1. 1. No, it's like a lot of... I feel like I would need to do some like really specific logical deduction to try and narrow down from where I'm at. I'm just not like awake enough for that. This we determined I couldn't quite do. This I shouldn't be able to do. Yeah, I could finish like any one of these. This could be either of these. This is the end bit of this is tough. I feel like this has mostly been a medium difficulty puzzle, but now that I am where I'm at, I'm either missing something obvious or just finishing this off is really difficult. Yeah, I want to draw a conclusion here that I can't do. I want to just say that this should be blank and this is filled in, but you can't do that. There's nothing to support that. Can't do that either. 3, 1. A group of 2 and a group of 1 here. That's pretty annoying. That makes this more complicated than I want it to be. Gosh, the end of this is... Definitely feel like I'm like missing something obvious. trouble is, like, I haven't narrowed... There's, like, a couple groups of 2 that would really help, but, like, they're in a large enough space that I don't get any overlap. Like, they're groups of, like, 4 space... I have lots of groups of, like, 4 spaces. I mean... Okay, hold on. I think I got something. I think I have something. So, this row has 4 groups in it. 2, 1, then another 2, and another 1. I'm actually only missing 1 group. I was treating this like I was missing 2. So, like, this space is the overlap between the available ones here. This should be part of a group of 2. Should limit this somewhat. I think I still need, like, one more thing to, like, finish this, though. Technically, because of the way these 2 rows are aligned with the 2 columns here, like, I think I could technically, like, fill this, leave this blank, fill this, leave this blank, or the inverse of that, and it would be potentially correct. Yeah, it would also be helpful if I could rule out either of these 2 remaining spots. That would tell me a good amount, I think, but we're not there. Here... I mean, this has to be part of a group of 2. Which means it could go either side. But it doesn't specifically mean that, like, this would be filled in. Which would tell me where the last group of 1 goes. I have 5 spaces and I'm looking for 2 groups of 1. That's too many. That's too much of that. Yeah, I'm so glad that it's a pretty tough one to start with, because my brain's, like, definitely working good. Like, don't worry about it at all. Like, there's no problem. Definitely working good. 2, 1... I mean, one of these 4 blank spaces is definitely a mine, right? Is that what we're doing? It's Minesweeper? Like, I'm sure I could make an educated guess that would cascade this, or tell me that it's wrong. But I don't want to do that. I want to actually solve the puzzle. It feels like the point of the puzzle. Group of 3? Technically, I could make, like, any version of these work, I think. 2, 1, 1, 2. Okay, hold on. So if I look at this column, I can either, like, fill this space, leave a blank, fill this space, leave a blank, and then the third group of 1 I'm missing has to go here. Or I could leave this blank, fill this, blank, fill this. But either way, I have to fill this top spot. Which in turn means that this can't be filled because of how overlap and the number 3 work, which should mean that this has to be filled in. 1, 1, 3, 1. Yeah, okay, that should be correct. Which would make this necessarily part of the group of 2, because I wouldn't be able to make a separate group of 2 and 1 otherwise. Which means that this has to be blank, which means that this needs to be filled in. 1, 1, 2, 1, right? And 2, 1, 1, 1, 4, right? So this should be blank, which then means that this has to be filled in for the column, finishes the group of 2 for the row, which... Or... Yeah, there has to be, like, this has to be filled in because the column needs another group of 1 between this 4 down here and the 3 up here. which means that this is blank, which, yeah, should be enough to say that this is filled in and this is filled in, because I still need 2 ones there, right? 1, 1, 1, and then 2, 1, 1. And that finishes this row, and doesn't do that. What about this? 2, 2, 2. Alright, so if that's the group of 3 there, the group of 3 has to go over here. So this is a group of 1, so it can't connect there. But one of these 2 has to be filled in, and one of these 2... I mean, we're pretty darn close now. Let's take a look at this. This should be 1, 3, 2, 1. So that's nothing, which means 1, 1, 4, 2 for the column. Alright, and then 2, 2, 2, 1. So that should be filled in. Alright. Is it correct? I don't feel as though at any point after that early one, I have encountered any logic that should fail the problem. I've been working on this, like, the whole stream, by the way. This is... I don't think this is easy, but also I think it speaks to my, like, really bad mental state right now. Because I'm pretty sure... Feels like it's, like, filling stuff in good on the edges while I'm, like, inking the spaces. What do you think this one is? It's got some swirly stuff and, like, a checkerboard on it. I think it's a snail playing checkers, is my guess. That feels like a really important clue to break this case wide open. What do you think? I assume it'll talk to us. It's...
Giraffe.
Black gloves. Is it? Would you say that's black gloves? Yeah, this feels closer to Ditto's parents. The coloration is even possibly correct. I don't know if Ditto's parents are also Ditto colored. You're already at rank A. There's like a really big chance we could finish this tonight. We'll see. You made me dig through a garbage can for an old pair of gloves? Not just any pair of gloves. I detected trace levels of the neurotoxin on them, so I made you touch poison. Got you so good. Ah, you're right, I touched poison! Bobby must have worn them while handling the poisoned makeup, then disposed of them in here. Yes, I'm sure Bobby did that. Bobby must have done that. Bobby definitely did a murder. Only one problem with that theory, Scout. These are women's gloves, and they look kind of familiar. Okay. Nothing else to do there, which leaves me with main hall. I can talk to Becky and presumably show her the gloves and be like, hey, Becky, are these your gloves? And she'll be like, oh, no, obviously. Oh, I apparently have several questions I can ask her. That's fun. If the gloves don't fit, you must acquit. It's true that we're arguably going with that logic, because we're finally ruling out men, because we found incriminating evidence in the women's room that only fits women. We should be thanking you. If anything, we should be thanking you for getting us out of the building. I feel like a whole separate conversation is now available here, but like it wants me to think it's attached to the previous conversation we had with her, because we said something along these lines in the last stream. Where did you learn to use a fire extinguisher like that? I played firefighter in the school play one year. I got really into the role. I wore a costume for like 2 months. Should we be concerned that that taught you how to like use a fire extinguisher, like you were spraying the other kids with the chemical compound or whatever? Nico says, I don't see why guys can't wear the women's gloves. Well, maybe they could if they have exceptionally small hands. But, like, that's why you do the fit test. Because, like, women tend to have smaller hands than men. But, like, if a man tries to put on a glove and it doesn't fit. But, of course, famously, in the O.J. Simpson trial, he just sort of, like, decided not to put the glove on all the way, and everyone was like, well, dang, that's ironclad. course, back then fire was just made of tissue paper. Holy crap, I could have died today. Why did you let me do that? Still can't believe the awards are fake. They're such a scam. I was so happy when we won Best Show in '93. Who knows when the committee started accepting bribes? I think we won fair and square that year. And as soon as I get elected, I'm clearing house. We're gonna drain the swamp, okay? All new rules and regulations. Sweeping reforms. Hollywood won't know what hit it. Glad you found your calling. It's like I told you, you don't need an award to be happy. You just need to be in charge of giving the awards to other people so that you can derive happiness by deciding who gets the awards that make them happy. Does that make sense? Of course I don't need an award. I'm gonna be in charge of giving them out. It's way better. I get to power trip like all the time and laugh maniacally because I control the industry. And then at some point I'll start accepting bribes. Wait, no, I see how the system breaks down. Just think of all the press conferences, the publicity. Yeah. Hey, about Bobby. Oh yeah, we found, what is it we found before? We found something at the end of the last stream that I straight up don't remember what it was. Oh no, it was dying flowers. We found flowers that like had trace amounts of the chemical on them and so they were dying. And like, I think that prompted some response from the character that was like, we should talk to Becky again. I already told you everything. He wanted me to go on his show and he gave me that makeup? You think I'm lying or something? Not at all. We're just trying to uncover more details. Can you remember anything else? Something he said? He was wearing women's gloves? Anything along those lines? There was this other thing that came with the makeup? I didn't think it was important, but you can take a look if you want. Oh my god, it's a nonogram. Somehow I wasn't expecting this, but I accept it. Alright, let's think about this. We are 15 wide, so the overlap is all but 6, which is really only 3, but still. Got a little bit of overlap there. There's some slightly bigger groups in the columns this time around. Let's take a look at this one. That's 2, 3... 12, 13, 14.
Giraffe.
Giraffe? Oh, look, I'm well versed in memes. My mom says she's impressed that I recognize the O.J. Simpson trial reference, considering that it's a little before my time. I just know all the memes. I just absorb them, and I don't learn things that are useful for adults to know. I can't, like, function as an independent person. But I know, like, so many memes. I know, like, all these memes, you guys. This is my burden. Alright, so hold on. I'm gonna fill this in this way for now. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, space 1, or 1, space 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's a heckin' lot of overlap. Has anyone heard of the game Neon White? I feel like I have heard that name recently, but I don't recall the context, and I don't think it was something I knew about until recently. Nico says, everyone should have cute and stylish gloves available in their size. Women's accessory makers must be stopped. Well, I mean, there could be, like, an accessory maker that either sizes for men and women or does unisex gloves. I'm pretty sure those exist. But, like, if a glove is, like, too small for someone to wear... I mean, it's just the same as, like... If all gloves were considered unisex and the ones that we found in the trash can were simply too small, it'd be, like, the same difference. It's just because of the fact that women's hands tend to be smaller that one might think of the gloves immediately as being women's gloves. I think I can get some overlap here. Maybe? 2, 3, 4, 5, space. 2, 3, space. Yeah, I don't really care about the rest. 1, 2, space. 1, 2, 3. 2, space. 1, 2, 3, space. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got a little bit there. These rows down here feel like they're gonna take a while. Echo says she wears children's gloves because her hands are little. I mean, that's fine too. I had a friend in high school who was so slight in stature that she was wearing, like, kid-sized shirts in high school. Which, like, I don't know, maybe she felt subconscious about, I don't recall, but, like, I remember having this information and, like, I don't really care personally. It's just a thing that exists. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Ooh, so close with this row. So close with this row. It says the OJ meme makers over the years have been pretty good, but if I did it, I would have made others. I respect that. I also see what you did there. It was very effective. 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13, 14. Okay, this row should be properly filled in. 2 space 1, 2, 3 space 1, 2 space 1, 2 space 1, 2. It tells us a little bit about these far left columns, because like this group of 4 can only reach as high up as this, or down to 1, 2, 3, and then something similar applies for this row, where 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is definite overlap. But then this could reach down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And everything below that is garbage! Garbage! That made me feel a little better, but I apologize. I'm just like really displeased with existence right now. Just having a rough go of it. I hope everyone else is doing. How's everyone else doing? Are you doing less growl at murder by numbers than Vasco is? Let's see. Now that we have a space filled in, does that do anything for us? Hang on, let me try something. 2 space 1, 2 space 1 space 1 space 1. No, it doesn't. And now I have to undo all of those. There was a smarter way to do that I only thought about halfway through checking that. It's close, though. One more in the right spot would do it, but I think that was technically true in the beginning, and that just wasn't the right spot. Angel says recovering from surgery at the moment, so maybe not as bad as you. That's a really generous assessment of your life compared to mine. I would say that that's like probably more struggle than I'm dealing with, even though I'm pretty displeased. It's just, I don't know. I've just been it's been like a very paper cuts time for me. You know, the death by 1,000 paper cuts analogy. It's just been like a lot of little stuff has like really consistently been going wrong for like approaching a month now, and I'm just like, I'd love it if like little stuff would go right instead of always being wrong. That would be fun for me personally. We learned a thing last week, which is that if there's a group of 3 by an edge here, we know automatically this should be a point of overlap, because the top group has to be 3, and like this space is already filled in. So like these 3 could be filled in, or the next 3, which I guess technically can't be filled in the way these are arranged. Yeah, there would be no way to do that. That would just make a group of 4. So what that should tell us is that that's a group of 3, and then the next group is also 3. So that should look like that, which actually seems pretty helpful. One thing it does for us is this row of 5 should get narrowed down a decent amount. Because now it can only reach 1, 2, 3, 4. Or 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, eliminating like 5 spaces is a decent amount. I haven't done anything to narrow down the group of 9. Demolition says, good here, rebalancing next week's encounter Lancer to account for how the players did. Well, I hope that's going well. I've never GM'd something myself. I've considered trying to, like, rig up some kind of lightweight homebrew game with some elements of stuff I like from a few systems. Just because, like, I don't feel like I have time to, like, adequately learn a system well enough to run a game and not frustrate and disappoint the players. I have some interest in doing it, I just, like, don't know when I would have the time. I don't know if you know this about me, but sometimes I stream for 5.5 consecutive hours, and it doesn't leave a whole lot of room for stuff to happen. Okay, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, like, these 2 spaces, like, necessarily have to be part of the same group of 5. But interestingly, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5... These ones can't be. So what that tells me, if I'm deducing this right, which I think I am, like, this point and the next one, they're not far enough apart to be anything other than part of the same group of 5. So, like, automatically they have to be joined together. But if I fill in the next space, I instead get a group of 6. So what that should tell me is that that's exactly a group of 5 and a group of 1 under it. That also... Hold on. Yeah. That eliminates that space from the 5er there. Angel says, I came up with a really simple homebrew system I could use. You try run a one-shot for the community. Something like that could be fun. Maybe we should try that at some point. An online DMing for well over a decade now. I'm interested, actually. I know we have a few DMs in chat here. Demolition Angel. I think a few others who may not be here, but maybe are. How did you end up doing that? Was that, like, a role that you were interested in taking on? Because, like, I know the way a lot of those tabletop RPGs work is, like, someone has to run it, and, like, sometimes the group of friends will be like, well, you do it. And then, like, you just, like, become the default because you have the most experience. But, like, there's some instances where people are like, I just feel like I want to run the game. Like, I just feel like I should do it. Either because, like, you know the rules better, or because you like being in control or whatever. Angel says, they're an avid writer and love storytelling for people. Yeah, I mean, that's a good reason. That makes sense. 3, 3, sure. 5, 1, sure. 2, 1, yeah, 2. I mean, these pretty much have to be separate groups, but that doesn't tell me much of anything. 2. Oh, hang on here. So now, this should be some overlap, right? So there's 7 spaces, and I'm looking for a group of 5 to fill this. Ooh, and actually, we also need a group of 1, 2, 3, and a group of 2. Hey, look at that. That's interesting. That's interesting, because this could be either one continuous 4 or 2 groups of 2. Actually, it can't be 2 groups of 2, because there would be no way to fit that. But it could be 1 group of 4 and a group of 2. So I still can't do anything there. But it can't be 2 groups of 2. Which is unhelpful, but it's true. It's a fact. Just as the system I came up with is meant to be universal, so you could do Resonance of Fate. I don't know. There's a whole lot of physics to account for if you try to do a Resonance of Fate tabletop RPG. And by physics, I mean kind of the exact opposite of physics. One thing is, like, I don't know, I have kind of a group of friends that I would maybe like to run something for, but I haven't really talked to them about it, because I haven't really talked to a lot of them in a minute, and I also don't know what, like, kind of environment they'd want to do, which would kind of influence elements of the system you would run. I'm definitely missing something to make this make sense. Yeah, that could be a few different things. Oh, we filled in actually a couple spaces in this row. Is that enough to do something now? Let's try this. So we could say like 2, 1, 1, 1. 2, 2. No. No, I still don't have enough. Why is this so hard? It feels like this row should be pretty manageable, and yet it's like really not. Like 6 spaces and you need to fill. Yeah, I'm like missing something on the far right would probably do it. I think that's always been the thing I'm missing, but I'm impatient. I really want it. It says I can recommend Sentinel Comics RPG if you're looking for an easy system to learn, with both a player and DM in it. Despite it being intended for superheroes, it's flexible enough to deal with anything. I mean, like, feel free to, like, post stuff in the Discord. I recently, because I've been working from home long enough that, like, originally I had, like, turned off notifications on Discord, and, like, the only way to, like, access it without being really obvious at my, like, work computer would be, like, take out my phone, which I also wasn't supposed to do. But now that I work from home, like, I have my phone out a lot because I make a lot of calls for work, and, like, every now and then I'll take a short break and, like, check Discord, and I figured, like, I'll just turn my Discord notifications back on. So, like, I pretty much, like, am doing a better job of actually interacting there for the first time in the history of my life. So, I mean, we could consider making, like, a TTRPG channel. There's a lot of people who play and run them in the community. I don't know if that would be useful. Do people feel like that would be a useful thing? I imagine you already have, like, different communities for that kind of stuff, but, like, we could add it. 6. Oh, hey, look, this is a point of overlap, right? Now that I've somehow ruled out something? Hang on. I need 6 out of 9. I'm not sure how we reached this point without me paying conscious attention to it, but that should be correct, right? Because it has to be the 3 in the middle, and then it could be the 3 above or below. But the really interesting thing about that... No, actually, that doesn't really tell me anything, because the group of 9's in the middle. Huh. Curious. Anyway, that thing is true. It's another true thing that's not helpful, but is true. I mean, like, I think you can, like, DM me on Discord. That's fine to do. I will not necessarily always have time for, like, a full conversation there, but, like, there's a few people who've done that before, and so far it's not ever been problematic. Oh, curse these small numbers. Curse this small number arithmetic. Yeah, those could definitely all be part of the same group of 5. Hey, let's take a look at this weird column. I feel like I might be able to do something here. Let's use some purple. 2, 3, space, 1, space, 1, 2, 3, space, 1, space, 1, 2. That looks right. I'm gonna try and fill that in. These 2, okay. I don't think there's another way that could go. So I think that's probably right. Smash cut to that not being right. Narrowing down this group of 5, it doesn't do very much. Did that do something here? So 1, 2, space, 1, 2. Alright, since there's no way to fit 2 groups of 2 to the right of this point here, this should be a group of 2. This also should be a group of 1. I'm playing it pretty fast and loose here. This feels like really playing with fire, as though I want to restart this whole puzzle, which I don't want to do. Oh, here's a fun thing. So over here, there's 5 spaces, and like there really has to be a group of 4 over here. There's like no way I could fit like like 12 spaces in 10. So like one group of 4 has to be over here, and there's few enough spaces that like I can treat that all as overlap. Now what that should be able to do for me is that the highest group here has to be 4, and it has to end here. So I think I should be able to conclude that, like, that's a group of 4, which then makes a new point of overlap in the other direction for the group of 5. And that also makes that a closed group of 2 for the column. It doesn't do a lot, but it does something. Feels very likely that these top 4 spaces are a group of 4 and then a group of 3 below it for this column. But not there just yet. Oh, we've made this into a group of 2. That's interesting. Everything below that is a group of 1, so this should be blank, which then makes this a point of overlap for the 5 in this row, which also means that that can't be part of the group of 6, which then means that this can't be part of the group of 9 for that row. Which, what does that tell us? Now we have 9 out of 13, so all but 4 should be overlap on either side. Except that one of these 4 is already filled in, which I think means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, as I suspected, that does eliminate another space on the opposite side. Okay. I'm starting to wrap my head around a shortcut for that thing that I don't know how to explain better than I just did, but isn't, like, super intuitive. 4, 2, that's fine. I mean, like, these have to be part of the group of 4 up here. There's just no way around that. But I don't think I could do more than connect the 2 of them. Interestingly, just make sure of this. So it'd be like 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, there's no way for, like, these filled in spaces to be joined with this one. Which means this one has to be part of the group of 2. Like the bottom group of the 2 for the row. So nothing down here can be filled in for that column. Actually, something similar is also true for this far column. There's 2 groups of 2, and like these spaces are far enough apart that they can't be part of a single group of 2. So we'd be able to say that these are off limits, and those are off limits. That doesn't tell me like a lot. That doesn't tell me like a lot. I feel like maybe we're getting close to filling in this row, like surprisingly. Hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Close. We're not there yet. It's a weird one. This one's like deceptively tough. It doesn't look super bad, but it's not super obvious either. Also, overlap. I did the right half of this row, but not the left half. We got 6 spaces open right now. 4 of them need to be filled in, so the middle 2 are overlap, which means that this is a finished group of 2. That's fun. So, normally, with these, like, 3 spaces open and I'm looking for a group of 2, it could be either one. But if I were to fill in this space, it would instead make a group of 3. And only the bottom group for this row has 3 in it. So what that lets us do is say that this is filled, this is empty, this is filled, this is empty, and then, because we have the next one filled in for the column, the last group goes there, and then we're filled. Bob's your uncle. This also lets us know 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now we know exactly where that group of 9 is, which also lets us determine exactly where the first group of 4 for this row is, which confirms suspicions that that's 4 and that's 3. This should be an isolated 1, whether or not this thing's filled in. Alright, now we have 3 filled in, so this is nothing. Which means we should be able to update the overlap here. Now we have 5 spaces for 4 to go in. That's all true. That makes this the group of 2, and then this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, look at that. Got a whole row. So now we should be able to rule out space on either side to make that a closed group, which then also tells us where the last group for that column goes, which in turn tells us that this is where the group of 4 goes precisely. And then I think we can say, yeah, we should be able to fill in the rest, because we need a group of 3 there and a group of 1, and those are really the only places they can go with everything else in those positions. So that completes this, which also fills in this. It's another row down. If you take a look at this row, this is now a finished group of 2. I have 3 blanks, and I need 3 things filled in. That works out pretty nicely, I would say. Yeah, and that corresponds with the group of 4 over here, too. That's nice. If we look at this, we now can pretty easily identify this as the group of 5 for this row, and it has an endpoint, so that should go there. It's a 1-up mushroom. Maybe. It could be. Now this should be where this group of 4 goes. That's the only space left there. That makes a finished group of 2 and a finished group of 5. Alright, we're suddenly making a lot of progress. That feels exciting. Yeah, this also is finished, because, like, this is where the group of 2 has to go. I have here 1, 2, 6, 7. So yeah, all but 1 should be overlapped there. Ooh. Oh. Something's wrong somewhere. Because if this was filled in, which I think it should be... No, wait. No, wait, there's too many spaces. This is already 5? Never mind. That does let me rule this out, but that doesn't let me fill in a space. That's fine. What that does tell me is that this is almost definitely filled in, because otherwise this doesn't work correctly. They were too late to bring the 1-up mushroom to dig. Yeah, I mean, it's true. They should give... I mean, I know that you want to give the swag bag at the end of the event, but, like, when there's a 1-up mushroom and, like, maybe an assassination attempt, it feels like maybe you should do it in the other order. Yeah, like, I'm like, all but certain that I can conclude that, like, this is filled in, but I won't do that just yet. Okay, top group for this should be 2. Then the next one is 4. And then I need 3 1s. So, like, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's the only way they can be separated. So that column's done. This one, not so much. What about here? Need a 2 and a 1? Nah, that's not gonna do it. I have 1, need a 1 and a 2. Nope. And there. Same here. The group of 2 is too small. 2's too small. Oh wait, I cleared out something that does in fact prove this theory, because now that's the only blank space left there. So that, and then this, and then... What am I missing? This should be a finished group of 2. That already looks correct, and then something in the middle gets filled in. I feel like I want it to be the middle, but I have no actual basis for that. Let's take a look at this one. So, group of 1. I need 2 more groups of 1, and then a group of 2. Should be only one way to fill that out. That also finishes this column, if that's correct, which it looks like it is. That also put a space here, so we know that's part of that group of 2 at the bottom there. So that's all filled in. And that lets us sort of cascade in this direction. This should be a filled group of 2, which then lets us say it's part of this group of 2 for the column. The rest of that should be empty. Now we should... this whole row is suddenly done. Here we should be able to say that this is the finished group of 2, because we've eliminated everything to the right of it. Similarly, group of 3. Bottom row is done. Just a few groups of 1. I don't want to mess with those just yet. Although, we're running out of time for that. Yeah, I can't draw too many conclusions there, though. How many ones do I need here? 2? It says it could also be Jafar's staff head. Yeah, actually, it's definitely got, like, front-facing Cobra staff pixel art vibes. 6-hour stream hype. Not so much, no. In fact, probably short stream anti-hype. The anti-hype equation. Alright, I'm missing something somewhere. Okay, let's take a look at this. This column, this one's done. That should be helpful. This column needs a 1 somewhere. Feels like it's probably this one. Actually, this row still needs 3 filled in individual groups of 1. There should only be one way to do that. So yeah, that should go that way. Makes this a group of 2. And then this row should be done, which should make this the filled in. Okay, great. I did it. It is Jafar's staff. No, it's other flowers? No, it's a fan. It looks kind of similar to the flowers, though, huh? Sniper just welcome to the stream. You're not late. Everyone's just early. Oh, shoot. We hit S rank. Maybe we're actually going to finish this case before the end of the short stream. That's exciting. Because I assume S rank means you have all the clues. I think that's correct. This fan has text printed on it, which definitely didn't depict in the pixel art. Can you imagine if you tried to, like, write out, like, even just, like, a couple of words in, like, the pixel grid? Oh, dear God. Sweet God. Sweet, delicious God. This fan has text printed on it. Thank you for shopping at La Manchot Jolie. That must be where the makeup was purchased. Why is there a store that stocks poisonous makeup? Poisonous makeup. And they could tell us if they sold it to Bobby. Let me give them a call. Ah, the battery's dead. I don't suppose you have a power socket. Actually, I do, but it's only designed for very low-power devices. Charging a cell phone will take some time. It's better than nothing. Here. It's true, we haven't seen Casey all night. I was noticing this the last time I tagged a video, and I'm like, wait, when's the last time he was on the list? Casey, I haven't seen you all night. I figured you left. Just because you don't see me doesn't mean I'm not here. I've been stuck with your mother all evening. Honestly, how am I supposed to find Mr. Right if I've got that hanging around me? Can I borrow your cell? There's this boutique, Le Manchot Jolie. I need something from their sales records. I'm sure it's not, like, at least 9 p.m. at this point, when, like, a makeup store has, like, a decent chance of being closed. Oh, I know that place. I went on a terrible couple dates with the perfumes guy. Great guy, but he insisted on cooking every time we met up. You broke up with him because he cooked for you? All those perfumes had screwed up his sense of smell. Honestly, it was like Pizza Hut tried to make bolognese. I let him down gently, of course. I'm sure he'd do me a favor if I ask nicely. I need to know who bought this makeup. I'd love it if she just handed him the poison makeup. Here, handle this deadly neurotoxin. See if they sold that. It's Rouge number 16 by Corinthia Cosmetics. Ooh, Corinthia. Very swish. We'll see what I can do. Good day, Le Manchot Jolie. Is that Marshall? It's me, KC. How are you? Supervisor? Look at you. Me? Oh, you know, this and that. Oh, you saw the show? Thank you. Listen, could you do me a big favor? I'm trying to track down one of your customers. I know you don't normally give out that kind of information, babe, but can you make an exception for me? Another date? I, don't know if that's such a good idea. Still cook? To shreds, you say? Oh, you don't have time anymore. That's great. I mean, that's understandable, given your new responsibilities. How about we meet up this Friday? And now, about that info. Did you sell any Corinthia Rouge number 16 recently? Perhaps with a dose of deadly neurotoxin? Really? Special order? Very interesting. You have any contact details? Yeah, a phone number would be great. Okay, got it. Thank you so much, Marshall. See you Friday. So, did you get a name? Yep, only one person bought that makeup recently. Alex Costa. Huh. That name again. Who's Alex Costa? You think it might be Bobby Price using a fake name? Can you call the number they gave you? Alright, but I'm sending you my phone bill this month. It's worrying how easy it is to order poison makeup. Right, Neko? I really feel like the FDA dropped the ball on that. Oh, could I speak to, Alex Costa? It's weird. What happened? Was it Bobby? I don't know, they hung up on me. Detective Cross will be here any minute with Bobby. We better have our final theory ready. Do you really think we have enough evidence? If we don't convince Cross... I know, this is our last chance, but I think I finally understand what happened here tonight. Hey, point of order, is it really our last chance when, in reality, we're not employed by the LAPD? I mean, like, what's the worst they can do to us? Not pay us for solving crimes? I mean, like, super definitely Kathleen did it. Kathleen killed Dick! It's all starting to make sense now! She admitted herself that she and Dick had a long-standing feud. He was a jerk to everyone on his show, especially her. Putting up with Dick was hard enough for just one night. It can be. Imagine getting that kind of abuse for over a decade. I mean, if you don't do it right. Phrasing? Are we still doing phrasing? But she never could go public. It'd be the end of her career. So she made up a fake name and started leaking rumors to the press. I mean, they had to know. Like, when you phrase it that way, you know, right? A decade of Dick. How awful. I mean, if you do it bad, it's bad. Until Dick called in his lawyers and stopped the press from accepting any more stories about him, she was silenced. Silenced, but angrier than ever. That's when she decided to take matters into her own hands. Her own lady-gloved hands. Dick Stanford must die. But if Kathleen killed Dick, how is it that Bobby gave the poisoned makeup to Becky? I mean, he's probably a sad, opportunistic, lonely single person who found some makeup that looked expensive, and, like, gave it to her to try and impress her. Something along those lines. That's exactly what I hope to find out from Bobby. I've gathered all 2 of the suspects. We can begin. Well, well, look what the cop dragged in. Am I to understand Bobby isn't so innocent after all? That's what we're here to find out. Sorry, Bobby. We've got a few more questions for you. What the heck, man? I didn't kill Dick. You said so yourself. I came here for the awards, not to get interrogated by a private detective and a robot and his meddling children. This isn't backtalk, Bobby. No one's interested in your sob story. I hope you got everything you needed, Honor. This is your last chance. I just want to reiterate that from the previous point, because it's your last chance for reasons. Let's start with identifying the murder weapon. I mean, sort of the makeup, but the flowers are also the method of delivering the makeup. Dick was poisoned with a neurotoxin sprinkled onto these flowers. Gasp. Aren't those the flowers I gave him on stage? He sealed his fate as soon as he smelled them. That's why he started acting strangely on stage. The poison was already taking effect. Pretty grim stuff. Not that I deal with murder on a regular basis, being a homicide detective for the LAPD. I can't believe this. I held those flowers too. If I'd smelled them myself. But I didn't go anywhere near those flowers. I don't even know what a neurotoxin is. The poison was hidden in makeup. Rouge number 16 from Corinthia Cosmetics. Only a small amount of the poison makeup is needed to kill if inhaled. Since when do you know so much about poison? I'm still learning what I'm capable of, Detective. Wait a second, I recognize that makeup. I was hoping you would. After all, you gave it to Becky. You handed off a deadly poison to some innocent girl? I can't believe what I'm hearing. News at 11. We all trusted you, Bobby. Hold up, you gave that makeup to me! Non-Dione? Well, he's obviously lying. I don't know, let's hear him out. Why did Kathleen give you the makeup, Bobby? Well, I've been trying all evening to get Becky to agree to come on my show. She'd be great for ratings. I asked Kathleen if she had any advice, you know, girl stuff. She said I should try getting her a gift. Let him finish. I asked her what kind of gift, and she thought about it for a second and smiled and gave me that makeup. So, you're saying you were given the poison makeup by Kathleen? It's all lies. I haven't spoken a word to him all evening. I certainly never touched any poisoned makeup. That's where my next piece of evidence comes in. Detective, this is outrageous. Bobby is the suspect here, but I feel like she's interrogating me. Well, Ms. Rahi, what else have you got that ties Kathleen to the poisoning? There's the luxury boutique? I mean, I think we're supposed to go with the gloves next simply by the fact that Kathleen said, like, I never touched them. And then we're like, that's my next point. Is we found, like, lady gloves discarded in the women's bathroom that are probably similar to the ones that she's visibly wearing right now. That, like, had traces of the neurotoxin on them. We found this pair of gloves in the bathroom. Do they look familiar? Gasp! They look just like the gloves Kathleen has been wearing all evening. They're identical, except for one important detail. These gloves have traces of neurotoxin on them. This is absurd. Quiet. What are you thinking, Honor? I think Kathleen used the makeup to sneak a deadly poison into the Starshine Awards. I don't know anything about poison. Really? I think you knew exactly what you're dealing with. That's why you brought a spare pair of gloves. Spare pair of gloves? Spare glove of pairs. After you dosed Dick's flowers, you threw out the gloves you were wearing to avoid poisoning yourself. I think it's obvious what's going on here. Bobby wants to frame me for Dick's murder. He used a pair of my gloves to make it look like he did it. Why would I kill Dick? We worked together for years. Well, that's not a very compelling argument, because that sure is a reason to kill him, huh? Exactly! You admitted to us that you suffered for years from Dick's insults and mood swings. Perhaps, but I never stooped to his level. I have a professional reputation to uphold. I'm sorry, is Dick Stanford known for committing murder? That feels like a slightly weird comment there. And that's why when you went to the press you used a fake name. Alex Costa. Alex Costa? I told you before, I've never heard that name in my life. Me neither. Care to enlighten us? Alex Costa told Celeb Life magazine about what a monster Dick really was. They printed the accusations, but then Dick's lawyer stepped in. And this Alex guy was someone who worked with Dick? To have that amount of dirt on him? Must have known him for years. And Bobby fits the bill perfectly. He wanted to ruin Dick's reputation to save his own show. His mother was even called Alexandra. Alexandra Price. Alex Costa? Isn't it obvious? A little too obvious. Almost as if someone knew they could pin the whole thing on Bobby if they got caught. You use my mom's name? Control yourself, Bobby. We could do without another strangling today. Calm down, both of you. I see your point, Ms. Rahi, but is there any direct connection to the poisoning? Well, the makeup came from Le Manchot Jolie. It was a special order for Alex Costa. I like that she doesn't say anything and just silently makes, like, raptor claw gestures. I can't believe you're listening to this, amateur, when you have the real killer right here. Here's one last piece of evidence. Alex Costa's phone number. I don't have to stand here and be insulted. Oh, dear. One moment, please. I'm just answering... What? Honey... I should have let that go to voicemail. Don't worry, I hear you still get a phone call in prison. Kathleen Cartwright, you're under arrest for the murder of Dick Stanford. Hashtag justice for Dick. You don't know what it's like to spend your entire career being put down and brushed aside. He deserved to die. I put up with that monster for 20 years. 2 decades of insults and contempt, and all the while having to hear how great he was. I tried to tell the world about the Can't Eat More. I tried talking to the press, and no one would listen. But that ranting, disgusting old creep you saw on stage, that was the real Dick. That's enough. Let's go. Now everyone knows what he was really like. I'm glad he's dead. Not really helping your case here. Maybe, Miranda rights? I only wish I could have made it more painful. I don't believe what you're telling me, Honor. Everyone loved Dick Stanford. Everyone except for the people he worked with and anyone who knew him or encountered him casually even once in passing, but sure. It's like I've always said, TV is the devil's work. I don't agree with any of this detective nonsense, but at least you're not in TV anymore. What a treat. Aren't you just glad Sharon's here? Have you seen Becky? I'm ready to go. Just no more arguing in the car, okay? Good luck getting Mom to agree to that. I'll stop arguing when you stop being so darn stubborn. I like that Bobby doesn't even fit on the screen. There's too many characters! Great news, everyone. I'm going to be a special guest star on Back Talk with Bobby Price. You guys have a great story. I'm just glad I can help tell it to the nation. And thanks for helping prove I didn't kill anyone. You and Scout are quite a pair of detectives. Speaking of which, can we give Bobby a ride to the police station? Detective Cross wants to talk to him. Apparently strangling a dead guy might be illegal after all. Go figure. You know what? I'm not sure I want a self-admitted strangler sitting behind me in the car. Take my keys. I'll walk. Ha 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 ha. Laugh track, laugh track. Scout and I headed back to my apartment, feeling good. We'd done it. We'd cracked the case. And this time, the culprit didn't commit suicide before we could solve it. We proved them all wrong. The feeling was intoxicating. Much like the neurotoxin I'd been recklessly handling all night. Oh God, oh dear God! A heady sense of accomplishment like I'd never felt before. We'd worked it out. We found the clues, discovered the link between them, and now hashtag for justice would be, or hashtag justice for Dick would be served. I ruined my own joke. I'm proud of me. It felt great. And at that moment I knew. I wanted to feel this again. I wanted to feel this all the time. So we're gonna overdose on neurotoxin? Oh no, the detective thing, sure. The only problem was, I still had to convince everyone else. Detective Cross, my mother, only Scout seemed to really understand. I mean, like, point of orders, like, strictly speaking, your mom already didn't approve of your career choice, but you were doing that. Is it really necessary to prove to her, specifically, that you could be a detective? I can't just do it again? In a few short weeks, he'd become one of my closest friends, someone I could trust, someone that had my back, someone who could really slowly charge a cell phone, given many hours. But trust has a nasty way of getting broken when you least expect it. Home at last. That was one heck of a night out, right, Scout? Scout? How do you lose track of your flying, talking 90s robot fax machine friend? Like, he had to be in the car with you, right? How do you, like, not notice that? I am not going to hurt you. I am just here to warn you. Scout is not what he seems. He is dangerous. What? He needs to be shut down, now, before it's too late. Look, I don't know who you think you are, breaking into my apartment, but you better get out before I call the cops. One of them used to be my dad's partner at the Brown Hat restaurant. Fine, I will go, but I have left you my number. Think it over. I will be waiting for your call. Honor, this is amazing. I was looking behind your bookcase after spending 999 schmeggins, and I wasn't able to fit back there. Just kidding. That's for those of you who stuck out the 5.5-hour live stream yesterday. We had a time. We found a Humphrey Bogart movie we hadn't watched yet. Is everything okay? Yeah, everything's fine. Let's watch that movie, okay? Do you like this weird section of the wall that's like brown and has like multiple not matching like paint streaks that we like tried to fix up our wall with? Case closed. Nego asks, why do characters in shows always say something cryptic and leave instead of doing a normal thing like having a conversation? Yeah, I mean, if you watch like Cinema Sins or Hollywood pitch meetings, they sort of touch on this. It's usually like, I mean, here's the thing. So like, even in this current age of TV where television seasons are shorter than they used to be, like at least here in America, it used to be quite common for like TV seasons to be like 20 plus episodes in a year. So like there kind of has to be a pretty quick turnaround rate on those to actually like produce them with all the things involved in doing so. And so like because of the limited time frame, you kind of end up shortcutting some stuff. So it's like pretty common to be like, well, this kind of has to happen in order to advance the like interesting overall plot that we put together or what have you. So like it's typically like a hand wave to like make in service of a larger story, but like that's not to excuse it as good, it's to excuse it as like a byproduct of trying to produce a lot of television. Now, I think it's less excusable in the modern age, and that's not just because, like, good television is a thing that is more readily accessible than it used to be, but also just, like, it's just not inherently good writing. I mean, again, to touch on yesterday's stream, like, we've now played through AI the Somnia Files twice on stream, and though I like that game, like, a lot, it has, like, a lot of problems with its storytelling, and we sort of excuse those for the sake of completing the game and, like, doing all the goofy stuff. But, like, it doesn't make it better that, like, the story doesn't properly set up its cool, exciting reveals and instead just, like, drops them on you like a ton of bricks, you know? It just is a thing that happens, but the writing could be better, and the game would be better if it was, but it's not. It's interesting that it looks like this location for the next case. I mean, it looks very similar to, like, the seating area from the last case. I guess it's not. This is the main area. I guess it looks more like the backstage area, but the backstage area didn't have tables. Anyway, let's try and fit in like one memory. We'll do like one case 2 memory. Unlocked all of the things. God, that's so many. This is probably what we'll be doing next week. It's just like these because there's many of them. Alright, so 7 out of 10 means we get to overlap all but 3. 6 out of 10 means we get to overlap 1 in the middle, basically. But since we already have this one, we should be able to rule out this. Yeah, that works correctly. What else can we do? Well, there's no way to fit a whole separate group of 3 here, which means that this space here has to be part of a group of 3. Yeah, I picked the very first one. I think it's the only F rank memory for chapter 2. I just always start from the easiest and work to the top, especially because I don't want to be on too much longer. I'm actually very pleased that we like finished the case. I just don't want like a sub 2-hour stream. So I'll just, like, do this real quick. This doesn't look like it'll be super hard, but I've been wrong about that before. So this has to be part of the group of 3, which means this space can't be filled by anything. 3 in a group of 2. Kind of similar reasoning here. Top group has to be 3. Can't fit there. This row has only a 2 in it, so this can't be anything, which then gives me additional overlap here. Which should tell us, I think, that this is necessarily part of the group of 4, which means that we can rule out this space, because we couldn't... Yeah, there's just, like, not enough room. Like, the 4 has to be in the second half here. And it can only reach this far. That being the case, 1 space, 1 space... That should be overlap, because it can either be, like, 1, 2, 3, 4... Or 1 space, 1 space, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that looks right. We're in another situation where this can't be part of the same group of 3, and that means this other group of 3 for the column can't reach all the way down to here. Should be able to do some overlap with group of 4, I think. Hold on. 1 space, 1, 2, 3, 4. No, I technically can't. I would need something else from that. This feels like this could be doable. Let me purple this for a second. 2 space 1 space 1 2 space 2, right? 2 2 1 2. Yeah, that looks good. Let's properly fill those in. So that means that this can't be part of the group of 3 now. Which also means that because there's only a group of 4 for this row, none of these can be used. Which also, per this column, means that we wouldn't be able to fill in either of those spaces, which then rules these out for the bottom row, because you couldn't fit a group of 3 there anymore. We also can conclude that this is definitely part of a group of 2, and that there's a definite point of overlap there, which makes that a finished group at the far right side of this row. Okay. Now we have an additional point of overlap, having ruled out this space previously, and adding this one a moment ago. Oh, this row has only groups of 2, so like that has to be a finished group of 2. Can't get anything else there. Might actually be able to get at least one point overlap here now, because it'd be like 1 2 1 2 3 4. Yeah, this should be legitimate overlap, which then rules this out. 5 out of 7. Yeah, right. Okay. This now... Oh, we should be able to specifically say that these are where these 2 groups of 3 are. That's cool. That's now those 2 groups of 1 from the end. And fill in the middle bit there. So we have 5 spaces and the 3 can go there. Let's see. 2 3 space. I think we actually know exactly what this row looks like, as weird as that sounds. Because, like, the only way for there to be a group of 3... Well, no, I guess this could be 1 2 3... And we could put a group of 1. Yeah, that's fine. I think we also... This is a point of overlap, which should mean that this is a finished group of 3. Which means this can't be part of the group of 2 for that row anymore. And gives us 2 points of overlap for the second group of 3. That then... 1 2 3 4... Yeah, that should be overlap for those 6 spaces. We also have overlap here, which makes that the finished column. Those are those 2 groups of 3. Oh yeah, this has to be a group of 2, which means this is the finished group of 3. And then this has to be separate, which makes this a group of 3, this a group of 2, this a group of 2. So that can't be part of the group of 3 anymore. This would have to be where the 3 goes. Since there's only one group of 2 in this column, it can't go here, which means it can't be here, which means there's an overlap there. Now that these 3 are filled in together, that makes that finished group of 3. We're only looking for 2 here. We can cross out a bunch more. Oh, interesting. If I fill in this space, it would make one continuous group of 5, which means these have to be separate since there's nothing bigger than 4, which tells us that that's exactly where that 1 and where that group of 4 go. Only missing a group of 4. Now that that's filled in that way, that space can't be used. Bottom group for this column should be 2. And I need to fill in 2 more spaces, so like this has to be filled in. Which means this can't be, and this has to be filled in order to complete those 2 mostly finished rows. And also, this row appears to be finished, so this should be filled in to finish the column. And that all looks right. Still need a group of 2 and only 2 spaces for it to go. That finishes this column as well. Let's see. This should be a point of overlap there. Both directions, that's fine. This needs to be filled in order to make 6 for the column. That finishes this. And also 2, 3, space. Yeah, I think this has to be filled in order for this column to work, which finishes that row, which fills that in and clears that and fills this in, and then this. It's the stage light. Yeah, look at that. It's the stage light. You can see it. It's the stage light. It actually looks like the thing. This is the smallest nonogram since the first ones. Yeah, but it's also, I mean, it's like the F rank memory. It's like the easiest one you unlock for chapter 2, so like, it's definitely gonna be... I mean, it was like more difficult than some of the like small ones, but like, it's definitely like a lot easier than like the stuff we've been doing at the end of case 2. But yeah. Let's go ahead and... bloop. Hello, it's me. What was that, a witch's hat? No, it was a stage light. It had, like, some angles on it, but it was, like, a round lit bit in the middle, and then the barn doors is what they're called. But yeah, so as promised, it's gonna be a short stream. We managed to close the case and do an extra bonus puzzle, so, like, I feel like this is a pretty good place to end it. Last night's stream went super long, and I just feel, like, pretty miserable right now. I'm gonna try and take some time to center myself before Father's Day tomorrow. Hashtag dating the stream as June 18th, 2022. So, yeah, I don't want to be, like, a miserable, unpleasant person to be around tomorrow, so, like, we'll call it here. But of course, we still have a bit of time to try and locate the secret Squirtle. Somewhere behind me, I've hidden a Squirtle. If you can see a Squirtle, that one's not a secret. But, of course, if you're able to find a secret Squirtle, it is an omen of good luck for you in the week to come. So why not take a moment while I drink some 100% apple juice. Sorry, juice apple. I really am tired. Let's see if you can find that secret Squirtle for me and for yourself. Putting the game here is a good time and you almost fell asleep holding Rasputin. Yeah, I mean, it feels like the universe is trying to tell us that this is where we end this particular stream. I mean, you know, the next thing I plan to do is to solve the rest of those memory puzzles for Chapter 2, but, I mean, those can be done at any time, so we'll do that. Alright, we got Ninja Turtle, Blueface, Big-Eyed Groot. You might be getting a puppy on case? That's exciting. You know what kind of puppy? And next to the generic brown pillow. Now, when you say generic brown pillow, you mean just like the weird nautical map that's lived in the center of my couch forever? Guessing under Banana Man's legs. It doesn't really come across as well as I wanted it to, but the Banana Man is petting Donut Cat. I appreciated that. Okay, there you go. Also, in case it's not obvious, because it isn't, because I'm, like, blocking it, I've stacked all my very large Eevees over there. I just made a big old Eevee mountain. You probably didn't notice, and maybe no one cares, but I did it. Ah, goodness. I think we've covered most of the couch with those guesses. I think mostly everyone who I noticed being active in chat is also accounted for. So let's go deconstruct the couch slowly, shall we? Start over here with our Banana Man Donut Cat entourage. Peeking out back there, you might notice Squish Eeyore. So soft. Such accurate tail. I feel like I'd lose my mind if they made like an official Disney Eeyore and it like didn't have the like pin the tail on the donkey tail. I think my head would just explode from the lack of continuity. So unfortunately no Squirtle there. And there was probably the earliest guess of the stream behind Big Groot and of course Big Brown Bear is hiding a whole entire giant Power Ranger person, but not, unfortunately, a Squirtle. Hang it over here. That's fine. You're very tall. Um, let's see. There's a guess hiding behind our nautical pillow. I'll reveal that our treasure grub was hiding tiny Winnie the Pooh, just in case you were curious. There is our ominous Black Knight friend. Nemesis, if you will. But alas, no Squirtle. Here's a guess both under the Ninja Turtle and behind Big Blue Face. Two guesses more accurately. In fact, there's another very squishy friend, our Clossum buddy Carlos. But alas, still not a Squirtle. If I'm not mistaken, I believe that covers all of the guesses. And so I will reveal to you that the location of Secret Squirtle was right here behind our extremely large narwhal friend. Ugh. Yeah, secretly Clossum. Shh. He's so good. I can't believe that he's like a special edition guy and that not all of the crabs say Clossum on them because it's so good. It's so good I almost like inadvertently swore on stream because it's that good. I was almost like, it's so expletive good. Naomi's very good. She's very big and squishy. I mostly had the Squirtle back there so that I could end the stream by holding Naomi because she's very big. So congrats to any lurkers or other folks who may have located the secret Squirtle, and thanks for playing to everybody else. This will conclude our short stream after a long stream weekend. I will be back next week. It's starting to sound like we will actually start AI Nirvana Initiative next week. I originally thought we would hold off till July, but people seem really eager for it. So we may do that. Next week we'll be back probably for exclusively memory puzzles from Murder by Numbers. Those are respectively Friday and Saturday, 6 p.m. Pacific as always. But then the following week, just to repeatedly make note of it so people aren't surprised by it, there will be 2 weeks off. I have plans at the start of July that will occupy those 2 weekends. But then we will resume with our various murder mysteries. But yeah, I think that covers all of the stuff. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being you, and I hope to see you again soon. Take care of yourselves, everybody. If you have a good relationship with your father, say hi tomorrow for Father's Day. They'll definitely know who I am. Fathers love me. Weird thing to say. I'm very tired. I'm going to try and sleep at some point before I implode. You should probably do the same, especially Neko, because it's very late there. Yeah, I'll be around next week. I'll try and check in on the Discord and all that, but for now, that's the end of the stream. Good night, everybody. Thanks for watching.
Daddy does not approve!